Here's a look at my Ford Focus. This is a car that I bought with no key from the junkyard. As you can see, it's got a couple markings there from the pick and pull. Still a little bit disassembled in here, so I took out the little keyhole. It wasn't too hard. Actually, there's just like a screw. There's a screw right here. I think it's this one right there. Actually, under this little black cap. That black cap you see right there, there's a screw that'll let you just kind of pull this keyhole out from the outside. It's a very, very simple way to change a keyhole. Much easier than a lot of older cars, actually. It's surprising that it's that simple. Kind of nice. Anyways, yeah, I changed the keyhole right here, the ignition switch. What I did is I took off this whole lower underbody right here and the top part. I did not have to take off the steering wheel. But I kind of just... Actually, no, I did take off the steering wheel. I'm sorry. I took out the airbag, took off the steering wheel, and took off all these plastics and got the ignition in there. There's a little bit involved, but for the price I paid and the savings I'm getting, it was totally worth it. So what I did, instead of going to a locksmith, although arguably I should have checked prices on locksmiths. There might have been something cheap enough. You never know. Well, no. Well, maybe. Who knows? I think I paid $45 for the ignition switch, one used key, and the lock. But bear in mind, hey, look, check out this Crown Vic coming down the street. Pretty cool. Looks like they repainted it. But yeah, I bought those and I had to make a second key for these Focuses. In order to make a key, program one, when all keys are lost, you need to have two. So you go two and you go into Forscan, and it's pretty simple. It's a timed system. You don't need a code generator or anything like that. It's a time lockout, I believe 12 minutes. So you go into Forscan and you just, program the key. Not too big of a deal. You just, you got to kind of look around on what to do, but you just enter Pat's programming and kind of follow the procedure. It's not too hard. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm trying to just give a general overview for someone thinking of buying one of these cars of this generation with no key. However, I think from 2015 onward, the Pat's programming is not supported in Forscan. So I'd try this for cars 2014 and down, Fords. I'm not sure, but I think it should be the same process for most Fords, maybe year 2000 to 2014. You just change the ignition switch, the lock on the door, and program in the two keys, or possibly one key for older cars. But for this model, you need to do two keys. You absolutely need to buy a second blank key and have it cut to match your used key and ignition. I would definitely buy a key that comes with the door one, a set. You'll find them on eBay. Or if you can find a car in a junkyard with a key, then you're set. You know what I'm saying? I'd be curious to see if an ignition from a Fusion fit on here. I once found a key for a Fusion in the junkyard. But anyways, you can also probably take the door lock to have them cut you a blank key. It might be possible. I'm not really sure. The shape of the key has nothing to do with the programming. The programming is strictly to the chip. The chip has nothing to do with the ignition module itself. It's just all electronic, basic electronic. There's zero paired chips or anything in the ignition itself. There's this little ring right here, you see? This kind of reluctor ring just kind of senses that the key is breaking this ring's magnetic signal to know that the key's inserted before it starts registering the chip. All the registration's somewhere in the computer located in the car, so you're pairing the chips and the keys to the computer. So you completely just change the ignition switch. You don't need to program it in. It's not a module or any modern type car piece that needs to be programmed in. You just install it, open the Pat's programmer, and you just program the two keys, and then you're set and start it up. The car I bought had 180,000 miles on it. I had no idea the miles. I kind of took a gamble on it. They said they lost the key, but then it was a good buy. A lot of people didn't want a chance on it, and I kind of already learned the whole Pat's programming process because of my other Ford that I have right there. So it kind of was something I already knew about, so it wasn't a bad idea for me to go into that business of buying this one. Would I buy another one? I don't like this model because it's got an issue with the transmission. It's like this dual clutch. It wears out from the clutches very often. I really do not want to put up with that. So I don't think I'd buy another one of this model, but I'd definitely be open to trying this kind of thing on a Ford again. At the Merced Pick and Pull, they had a Super Duty, $3,500, no key, twin turbo or single turbo, whatever they are, a diesel F350 Super Duty pickup. I really would have like to have bought that and programmed it in, but I didn't really know what I was getting into. I thought maybe it's got a blown motor. For the most part, when the junkyard loses keys, it doesn't seem to be a blown motor. The car had other details wrong with it. The little screen was bad. This thing's kind of ripped right here. Missing a few little trims on the front. Nothing too bad. And all in all, I paid another, let's say $300 for the key, the cut, and just little trinkets that I put on it, like the little I bought a new steering wheel for the cruise control that ran me about like $60 for the cruise control. Actually, it was less, like $25 or $30, because I didn't have to buy the airbag. Maybe like $300 in parts, and then about $300 in registration fees. I got a bunch of tickets while working on it, so that kind of set it off. But all in all, I paid probably another $600 to get it on the road with the brake and light inspection and all that kind of stuff. You got to do a brake and light when you buy from the junkyard. So yeah, paid probably $2,500 for the car. Maybe less. Yeah, like $2,500. Not a bad buy at all. I'm gonna sell it for at least $4,000. It's just about solid $4,000 car. Yeah, it's a salvage title because it's reinstated from the junkyard. But if you're a good salesman, you're gonna sell that motherfucking car, whether it's a salvage or not. The car kicks good. I like how it drives, but I don't like that whole dual clutch thing. And it's a Ford. It's got all of its kind of intricacies of fixing it. While it was in my possession, the high pressure fuel pump died, and we had to replace that. It kind of got seized. I think that was because I neglected to change the oil. But yeah, that's what goes into buying a car with no key from the junkyard. Had to get it towed back, so there was a little bit of an additional headache there. But yeah, I don't know, I'm profiting at least $1,000 on this for sure. Fortunately, I got a bunch of tickets because I left it with no license plate out on the street, so that set me back. My estimate's about $300 that I lost the profit. But yeah, definitely I would consider checking these out. Fords with no keys at the auctions and junkyards. The software is free. The tool that I use is a Chinese adapter with I think it's a Russian software. It was like $25 for the little adapter. So yeah, check it out.